So we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, a show where I bring you exceptional people, champion trailblazers, and people who have story of triumph, and really to inspire you, to show you that you should not leave anything on the table of life. And today, again, I'm bringing you this kind of champion, this kind of person that actually came up from the brink and really started to step into their greatness, step into their power, and recover from a situation that a lot of us would have just say, okay, that's it. So, who is my guest today? My guest is Jeff Marconette Jr. Is the international Make Every Second Count speaker. Is a transformational speaker, an author, a coach, a youth mentor, and walking miracle. And you will understand that through the show why walking miracle. He is the host of Make Every Second Count live show, and is hosting this show from his home in Ohio in the US. So my guest is based in the US today. But at the story of Jeff is not that simple. At the age of 17, he almost met what is called met the eternal stop sign while waiting to turn at a green light. And he basically had an accident. He had a crash, and he was told that he will never walk again. But after 17 years of recovery, Jeff is not only walking, but is also determined to run. And most importantly, is here with us. So you can see the miracle here. And after his near-death experience, Jeff, wants every single one of us, everyone, to make every second count because he knows what it is. He knows what a second represents in a life. So he now traveled the world, transforming his life and really bringing this message to everybody, from young to to older people, and really bringing this message of hope, bringing this message of expectance. And it's really important that we all grab it, that we all understand that our life can be taken in 1 second. So every single second count. So the power of Jeff incredible story resilience is the ultimate embodiment of what it means to make the impossible possible. He has done it, so he knows what he's talking about. And we will understand through the show what he went through, and get the opportunity to learn from him and be inspired by his story. And the key highlight for Jeff is he's just released a journal, and this journal is now published on Amazon, and we'll get the opportunity also to learn a little bit more about it, and hopefully you get also a chance to grab a copy after the show. So get ready to leave the show with a different attitude about life. And as usual, I ask you to have your pen, your paper, and whatever you can have to get the message today, and write down all those important lessons that Jeff is gonna give us today. And I hope that you're going to be inspired, and I hope that you're going to be also able to follow his mission, to support him in his mission of hope, and his mission of power, and let us all know that every single second in our life counts. So don't go anywhere. I'm bringing Jeff now, and we're going to have, I know, an amazing conversation. And I can assure you, you're all gonna be inspired today. So let's start the show, and have Jeff with us.
And that is the power of labels, right?
On memories. But as I got older, I started to be more aware of some of the abusive sides of
So, hello, hello, hello. Hey, Jeff. Welcome to Greatness Engineering, our show. It's such a pleasure to have you today and get to, to know what you're up to and what, exceptional thing you're doing right now. Because before we really, start to get into it, I just wanted you to introduce yourself to the audience and let us know, who is Jeff and what's your story?
All right, thank you, Mireille. I really appreciate being on this show. I have been doing a lot of podcasts and shows, and I have done shows in Africa, in New Zealand, but this is my first one in Australia, and I am
Mhm.
very excited about that. So, I am Jeff Marconette Jr., as Mireille said. I am from Ohio, the United States, and I, when I was 17, I was involved in a serious car accident. Now, I was sitting at a red light waiting for it to turn green. And when it turned green, I had a friend behind me actually honk at me. And I quickly looked up to make sure he wasn't messing with me because I'm kind of a person that has a lot of people that like to mess with him. So I made sure he wasn't messing with me, and he wasn't, so I went ahead and pulled forward. Big mistake. You see, when I pulled out into the intersection, a semi truck decided to run the red light. He T-boned me in the intersection, leaving me unconscious right away and with a broken neck, a fractured jaw, a punctured lung, a ruptured spleen, and a traumatic brain injury. And the worst part in that all is the traumatic brain injury. That's what makes me walk a little funky, talk a little funky. But hey, I'm here. I'm still up and doing this. I'm still up and alive. And I don't know what else could be better than that.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And that's the most important thing is that, when you have life, you have everything, you have hope, if you can wake up in the morning, that's the most important thing. The rest you can manage. And I think you are really, the example of all of that is that, yes, I had all of this happening to me. Yes, he's been very good, but as long as I wake up in the morning, for me it's important. And like you said, and you're now the you know the representation of that. Every single second count. So before we go, into our conversation, let's have, a short break to see exactly, what you were talking about, when you were related your story, and then we'll come back and start to, interact a little bit more and dig a little bit more to understand exactly, how you've been traveling so far after this tragic event, or and how you've been able to actually show, that, there's life after such a tragic event. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.
2, 3. That was actually the last sound I heard when I was 17. I need you to make every second count. Yes. Why? Because you never know when your last second is going to be.
So we are back. We are back with Jeff, and today we are going to try to understand from Jeff, how he makes every single second count in his life, and help us actually to understand, the importance of that. So before I go, a bit far on that, just wanted to understand, Jeff, what actually gave you the strength, to, after the tragic event that you had, and then all the struggles and obstacles that came with it, what gave you the hope and the strength and the determination to cling to life?
Well, that's a great question, and thank you for asking that, Mireille. But I have been asked that before, actually, and it has taken me a while to come up with the answer. And as many people my age, which I'm 35, so I'm not dating myself at all by saying that, but a lot of people my age used to play outside a lot, and we were really into sports. We're not like the kids these days sitting in front of screens like, oh no. But I used to play all kinds of sports like football, soccer, baseball, basketball, all kinds of stuff. And in fact, there were very few days that I took off. And I think that has really helped me in my journey to getting back to where I am now. And I think that has instilled in me that I need to keep going until I reach a certain point. It's like in baseball. You won't hit that ball the first time you go up there. And if you do, you're really lucky. But it's as long as you practice and practice and practice, and you keep putting your mind and eyes on the ball, you're going to eventually hit that ball. You're going to eventually do whatever it is that you wanted to do, as long as you stay focused on it. But you have to have the laser focus on it, and that is hard to develop. But I think sports is a big thing that helped me develop that.
Because I think sport is so competitive that, it's actually helping people to push themselves and keep pushing themselves until, they reach their goal. And that's what is, like you said, it's important to to be, to have a goal, to have a mission, and really stay focused, because as soon as we start to look somewhere, and especially looking into the past, into looking into what we've lost, then it becomes a very difficult and cumbersome exercise. And that's the main thing that you have to do. So you said that sport has helped you a lot, and but obviously, after the accident, you could not move, you could not walk. So what kind of sport actually help you is to actually stay focused, because it's still very, you were still fragile physically to be able to do a lot of sports. So you had sport, and what else? Is it, is there anybody around? Because sometimes it's also an inspiration coming from somebody, or coming from a situation. So did you have that
Yeah.
as well? Hmm.
Actually, I have a family that is just rock solid, and
Hmm.
they actually never left me alone in the hospital. All 3.5 months I was there, I was
Hmm.
never by myself. They were always with me, always supporting me, always making sure I did my best, and I
Hmm.
think that helped me a lot as well. But yeah, and then we would always, because of my background in sports and stuff, I would always turn things into a competition. I would
Hmm.
always make things like they were a game. They weren't hard work, they were a game. Or
Hmm.
it's weird the way that works.
Hmm. 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 And it helps, some, and it brings another aspect, here, is that it's really about what you tell yourself. It's really about what you tell yourself. It's really about how you view the situation. So you basically chose to view the situation as a game, and whereas some people would look at it as a tragic situation, and and it changed the whole dynamic, I can say. And that's really what people need to understand, is that your mindset is really the important part. So I mean, now that you've gone through all of this, what do you think is really, what did you realize is really important in everything? Because we see people who are venerating money, venerating something else, religion. So what do you think this situation revealed to you as the most important thing in life?
Well, I actually have these 5 lessons I learned from my near death experience.
Hmm.
And I didn't see lights or anything like that. It wasn't that kind of near death experience. No, I was just close to death.
Hmm.
And you see, it has taught me that before my accident, I had all these abilities that I took for granted.
Hmm.
So the first one is don't take anything for granted.
Hmm.
But when I say that I had all these abilities that I took for granted, I'm not talking sports, I'm not talking those things. I'm talking about sitting up on the edge of the bed for longer than 4 seconds at a time. I'm
Hmm.
talking about being able to hold your own head up straight. I'm talking the ability to use your arms, use your legs, use your feet, use your hands, use your fingers. See, there are so many people
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
have those abilities that they just take for granted.
Hmm.
Now, I know about a guy that comes from your neck of the woods. He's from Australia. I believe
Hmm.
he's from Queensland, though. His
Yeah,
name
Nick.
Nick Vujicic. He was born without arms and without legs. So does he, and he lives a fantastic life now. He has kids of his own, he has a wife, and he's happy. And what do you guys have that he doesn't have? You see, you need to see the things in life that you have instead of the things you don't have in life. And then the second one was, I always wanted everything. I always wanted something better in life. But I wasn't thankful for what I already had. See, my mom and dad both worked good jobs. They had a nice house. They drove nice cars. They made decent money. But I always wanted them to have better jobs, make better money, have a bigger house, have nicer cars. But was I thankful for what they already had? I don't think I was. And I think we need to express our gratitude. You know, I wake up every morning, and even before I get out of bed, I post on Facebook, I am so thankful to be given today, and I will make it a great day. Now, you see, when I say that, I actually mean it. I'm thankful that I actually woke up. I'm thankful that I was given today, because that means I still have a purpose in this world. And then I also make a determination of how my day is going to go. I say that it's going to be a great day, and I'm going to refuse all external situations, all external things that try to affect my joy, because that my day is not going to get any worse than great, because I'm alive. And then number 3 is, life is a precious, precious gift. And it should never be wasted. It should never be taken for granted. Just because a lot of people wake up every day and they don't appreciate it. They think that it's a right, it's a privilege that they have. And the thing is, no. You know, I've heard it said, which I don't know about these statistics, but I heard that every 42 seconds someone dies. So think about that. 42 seconds, you're not here. 42 seconds, I'm not here. 42 seconds, one of our audience members are gone. And how is, you see, you need to take that into your life and realize that you're so lucky. And don't look at life all the time as a privilege or a right. Think of it as a precious gift. Then number 4 is never, ever, ever, ever give up on yourself. Look, when I just came out of my coma and I got out of bed for the first time, I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk, so I had to ride in a wheelchair. And they told me when I was in the wheelchair that I could quit this therapy thing anytime. People lived every day in a wheelchair and they're happy. I thought to myself, I don't think that's me. I don't want to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So then I finally got to walking with the walker. They were all surprised and happy about it, and they couldn't believe it. They told me that, Jeff, this is probably the best you can expect, man. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
can quit this therapy thing anytime now. People live every day walking with the walker and they're happy. I said,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I bet they are happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not I'm not happy with where I am. I'm not going to quit this therapy thing. So then I got to the point where I was walking with the cane. I was all happy. I was all excited. Everybody else was happy, excited, shocked. They couldn't believe that I was walking with a cane. Because remember, at one time, they didn't think I would walk.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me, Jeff, this is probably the best you can expect. You might as well just give up this therapy thing now because you've done it. You're walking with a cane, and
Mm-hmm.
that's amazing. And people live every day walking with a cane, and they're happy. I said, yeah, I bet they are happy, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got to walking completely unassisted, and
Wow.
that was amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to deny that because that is amazing. Every time I get up, every time I stand up, every time I walk out the front door, that is another life-changing moment. But
Mm-hmm.
they were all extremely shocked.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't shocked because you see, I expected that of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when they told me that, Jeff, you can quit this therapy thing anytime now. You're walking. You did it, man. I said, yeah, I did do it. I told you I'd do it. But no, I'm not giving up on this therapy thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's more inside me that I have to prove to myself and to the world. But I am going to run. Nobody is
Mm-hmm.
going to stand in my way of running. And that is just something that it's a part of me that I say no when other people tell me I can't do something. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't take permission when people give it to me to quit. That
Mm-hmm.
that is a big thing for me. And I'll say that again because I think you guys might have missed that. And
Mm-hmm.
this isn't one of those points, but I don't take permission to quit when other people give it. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, you don't have to take permission to quit when other people give it because they will give it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
promise you that. But number 5 is I learned that I could make every second count, and so could
Mm-hmm.
everyone else. Now, when I say make every second count, there are 86,400 seconds in a day.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot of seconds.
Yeah.
And a lot of people look at me like, what? You're crazy. Why are you going to make them all count? And, excuse me, it's really not that hard. If
Mm-hmm.
you look at it in certain ways, which I go over more in my journal, which we will talk later on in the
Mm-hmm.
broadcast about. But when you use those ways, when you're thankful for just waking up, when you go through the 4 lessons I learned in my near death experience, it's not hard to make every second count.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens. The joy is just there to fill you, and you're like, wow, I'm so lucky to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And you just make every second count.
Mm-hmm. So powerful, so powerful, and we have Janelle here. Janelle is Chef. You're so inspiring,
You.
and I know it's really inspiring to see, this strength, and I liked, the way you've done it. You've done it per step. It was about, being able to stand first, and then being able to assisted, work with assistance, and then work on your own. And now the next step is, is run. And I really like, your statement about, I don't take permission to quit when other people give it. You are the one putting your own limits, and that's what I really want the audience to understand, is that, the limit that you have right now in your life, you are the one putting them. People can suggest, the limit, but you are the one, doing and applying and taking giving them the permission to limit yourself and to limit your potential. And I think that's really the key thing to understand with everything that you've just said, is that, if you have the will, and if you make the effort, you should be able to get, what you want. And that's important to know. And I hope, you all got the five lesson from Jeff, which is: the first one, it's don't take anything for granted. The second is to express the gratitude for what you have, and not just, always complain about everything and what you don't have. And understand that life it's precious, and never, 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 ever give up on yourself, because you are your own, you are your own motivator. You are your own, the only person that gonna bring you forward. So make sure you never, never, ever give up, and don't take permission to quit when over give it. And the last one is to make every single second count. And so with that, we're gonna have a break, and we'll come back and talk, about your journal, and understand a little bit about, the context in what you wrote it, and what, what we can, learn from it, and get from it. So let's have a short break, and we'll be back with Jeff in a few minutes.
When I was 17, I was in a car wreck. Now, this car wreck wasn't like any other car wreck. I was sitting in a red light, waiting to turn left, when a semi-truck, or container truck as you call them here, ran the red light and T-boned me in the intersection. It left me in a coma 2.5 months, and in the hospital 3.5 months. Now, it broke the top bone in my spine, which is considered a fractured skull, and I wore a halo like an angel for 3 months with that. And then I had a broken jaw, 2 fractured ribs, punctured lung, and a ruptured spleen. Now, my worst injury is one that nobody can see. My worst injury was a traumatic brain injury. And that's what makes me walk a little funky, talk a little funky. I'm standing here right now, and I shouldn't be. I walked in this room right now, and I shouldn't have. So I know you guys can do anything you want. So do that for me, guys. People tell me all the time that I have disabilities. And I tell them no. I don't have disabilities. I have different abilities. Thank you.
So we are back. We are back with Jeff, and we are inspired by his story. We are inspired by the lesson, that you've just, teaching us today. And again, when watching this video, I really like the last statement where you said, people say that I have a disability, but I have other, abilities. And that's what it's all about. Understand that, you can be different, but it doesn't mean that you don't have any ability and you don't have any potential, and then you can't, step into your greatness and do things, that are extraordinary. So with that, you are an author as well, and you've just released a journal. And I really wanted to understand, what the journal is all about, and why did you take the step to write this journal.
Well, the journal is really intended for school age children that are 11 through 19 years of age. But it will honestly work for anyone. You see, I have a special place in my heart for school kids. Don't know why, but I do. And I really want to help them. And when I was involved in the car accident and then in my recovery and everything that way, I learned so much after my car accident that I wish I would have known when I was in recovery,
Mm-hmm.
right after or even before my car accident. I wish I would have known some of these things when I was growing up because it really would have helped me. So
Mm-hmm.
I put this book together. It's called Make Every Second Count, a 1,500-hour journal. And I was supposed to have a video about that book for today,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have that done yet. I'm not sure why, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not done yet. And that's all right. But you see, it goes through all kinds of things like gratitude and being thankful for what you have, and
Mm-hmm.
just like my point says. But it also goes through things like dream big, and it teaches you and shows you that if you dream big you can achieve it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look, it's really it's designed by a girl that, well, the girl that helped me write it designs curriculums for the city of Atlanta schools. So
Mm-hmm.
it's designed with education in mind, and
Mm-hmm.
it's designed to help them gain more perspective on life so they can look for those things to be grateful for. Look for the things that they already have that they
Mm-hmm.
can be happy about instead of always looking for more and more and more and more. But
Mm-hmm.
it's also to develop their foundation, give them a stronger foundation, because we don't build a house on a weak foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to build a house on sand.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to build a house on gravel. No, they build houses on cement that they pour, and it has to be all level so it doesn't shift and doesn't crack up and fall
Mm-hmm.
all apart. Because if we strengthen those foundations now at this point in their life, their life is going to be able to take more of the shape of the life of their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's important to give the young people, but it's important to give everybody the chance to live the life of their dreams. But
Mm-hmm.
it's really important for the younger people out there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you're right. It's very important for them because especially now, with all that's that's happening, there's so much distraction or around them. There's so much that they have to process, and so much that they have to to really understand. And they need direction. They need direction. They need reassurance that they have the potential. They have they can dream big, like you said, and achieve it. And it's important that they start to have the right mindset very early in their life, because as we know, everything starts with the mind. And if their mind is not properly set up for success or for their big dreams, it becomes very difficult to attain. And one thing that I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the key challenge that the youth, because you've obviously spent a lot of time understanding what are the problems before you wrote the journal. What do you think are the key challenges that they really need to be that are really key to address, and how do you think we can help them on top of what you've already said?
Hmm. So you do you mean like what do I believe the key challenge for children these days are?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's my question, is that what do you think are the key challenges that they have, and where you think that we should, and you probably focusing already on that.
Well, I think the key challenge with that age group is, well, I mean, they have a lot of challenges. And
Mm-hmm.
you see, from when I was in school and when I was their age, I have noticed that a lot of the time the things are kind of the same as what
Mm-hmm.
I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they also have it worse than we had it. They have it
Mm-hmm.
worse than I had it because they have this thing called social media.
Mm-hmm.
And while it can be a great tool to connect people like yourself and me,
Mm-hmm.
it can also be a tool to spread hate, a
Mm-hmm.
tool to spread rumors, a tool to bully people. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that social media is one of those things that is really a challenge for teenagers and adolescents these days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of times the youngster's home life is not so good.
Mm-hmm.
The parents aren't the best parents, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't blame them for that because oftentimes they didn't have the best parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a trickle effect, and I don't like that term, but I'm not sure how else to describe that. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I just believe that a lot of the youth today are ill prepared to deal with the things that come their way, the circumstances, the challenges. I know you were talking in the beginning about turning your trauma into triumph, or you said something close to that, and
Mhm.
that was actually a title of one of my presentations that I gave at the school. How to turn your trauma into triumph. Because I did that. So we need to teach youngsters, we need to teach adolescents, we need to teach children that they can turn their trauma into a triumph. They can make
Mhm.
all kinds of life out of their trauma, because
Mhm.
trauma is not something that's forever. It's temporary.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you see, they're taking a lot of actions about their temporary problem that are permanent things.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they just need to realize that it's temporary. Like, I believe it's said in the Bible that this too shall pass.
Mhm.
So it's like that in life. This too shall pass.
Mhm. 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 and and that's that's the summary. This shall pass. Nothing is eternal, you know. It's gonna end at some point, and that's sometime the key thing that a lot of us miss. I mean, it's not just children. We're so used to uh this having things quickly. We're so used to accessing things easily, and I think you're right when you said the parents uh, have their own responsibility, because we raise them to for the quick fix, for the quick thing, and not really uh, teaching them sometime that they have to rely on themselves. They have all the tools, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna be easy. They have to put the effort, and they have to have the right mindset, and understand that whatever trauma or whatever challenge that they go through, it's temporary, and they can go through it. And I think there's a saying, say always, I hear people say, when you go through hell, keep going, don't stop, keep going, because at the end of the day, you gotta find the light. You gotta find the light. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. But then we need to, like you said, social media doesn't help. The news and everything does, the internet doesn't help. So we need to have those structures, those messages to send to them, to tell them, hey, this is the message. You have, the answer yourself. You don't need to get in social media. Start thinking, start having the right mindset, put the effort, and whatever difficulty that you go through, it's not the end of the world. It's gonna be okay. Just keep going. And that's fantastic. So we're gonna have another break, and we'll come back to continue, for the last part of the show. And so far it's been very inspiring. I hope the audience is taking notes, whoever is watching, but whoever is going to watch the replay, I think there's going to be more people watching the replay. Please, take notes, and make sure that if you need some clarification, that you come back to Jeff, and connect with him directly. But for the moment, we're just going to have a short break, and we'll be back uh, with Jeff for the last part of the show. So don't go anywhere. We will be back pretty soon. are back. We are back with Jeff, and we are back, into the inspiration of the day. And Jeff, I have this question. You obviously went through. You have an amazing story, and I call it a story of triumph because you basically you turn your trauma into a triumph. And one question I have is, what's next for you, because you've already gone through a lot, and I know you're still building yourself, but really, what is, your what is the legacy that you want to leave, and what are the key thing that you really want to focus from now on?
Yes, well, I do agree that I am a work in progress. I do think that everybody out there is a work in progress. Even the people you think are masters at whatever they do, they are a work in progress at the moment. There is continuing education for a lot of them. And you, Mireille, as a engineer, a gas and oil engineer, I believe that there's probably uh, reoccurring or education that goes on that you have to take too, right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
Yeah, so that just shows that everyone is a growth in progress.
mhm,
But I think the future holds for me, like I want to continue to help students. I want to continue to help parents of the world. I want to continue to help everyone of the world. And a lot of doors have opened for me,
mhm,
especially with this book. And
mhm,
I foresee many more doors opening from this book, but the legacy I want to leave is the legacy of civility. I
mhm,
want the world to be civil.
mhm,
I want everybody in the world to just get along.
mhm.
Yeah, I think the world would be so much of a better place if people just got along.
And that's a powerful statement, because we see all the chaos that has been created because of the ego of some people, and because of this animosity between people. And it's important that we understand, and each day we have signs that actually prove it, is that we are all connected. So whatever we do to another human being, we do to ourselves. So we need to understand that civility is the way to go, and we have to work for a bigger humanity where everybody is connected, where everybody goes to the same direction, because otherwise it's nobody actually win in this situation where we tear ourselves down, and we bring the whole world and the whole humanity down with us. And that's a very powerful legacy that you want to leave. And so it's been a fantastic conversation, fantastic to have you. And before we leave, just wanted to ask you how people can connect with you, and if there is anything that going on your side. Obviously there's the book, and you're probably gonna have some launches all the way, especially online, and anything else that you really want us to know, and to take notes.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Murray. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. But I
Mhm,
I want to tell you guys that I am on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn. I am on Instagram at Jeff Marconette Jr. Don't forget the junior, because if you don't, you'll get somebody else, and I don't know who you get. But so that is Jeff is Jeff, and then Marconette is Marconnette. Junior is Jr. And then you can also find me at my website, which is www.jeffmarconettejr.com, just like my name is spelled. And then you can also find me on YouTube at Jeff Marconette Jr. I know, pretty strange, isn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And then
yeah.
I have a show on every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now that is United States Eastern Standard Time, but it's on every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I also want to make one big announcement, and I'm using your show as that big announcement. But my book, my journal is has now been released on Amazon Kindle. All right, now check this out. My book is normally $15.99 for a copy of it, but on Kindle, it's less than $7. It is $6.99. How can you go wrong for $6.99? You get to learn all these lessons that I learned, have me teach it in a book, in a journal format that makes you take an introspective look at your own life and then ways that you can apply that. I'm sorry, I don't see a way that anybody wouldn't want to go out there and grab that book for $6.99.
Yeah, that's nothing, when we see what everything that you've gone through and all the lesson that you've learned. This is really cheap. Six, 6.99 to have everything inside that somebody is just gonna grab and really apply into their everyday's life and really capitalize on your trauma and your struggles on your learning without them going through it. So it's so make sure you go to Kindle. There's this so just released the Kindle version of Make Every Second Count, and I think on the website as well you can get it. So I have like here a snapshot of the website. There's the Make Every Second Count. You can also have the book on that, and you had another book as well, which is Live Your Best Life, but the journal is really the one where you put all those lessons
Yeah.
about helping people to make every second count. So that's been a great show. Like I said, I've got inspired. I knew already about your story, but there's really reinforcement of appreciating everything that you're doing and the strength that you've had through all those events that you had to go through to use every single piece of your suffering, your trauma, to deliver this thing for us, because at the end of the day, that's a mission that you've accomplished, to have it and give it to us at such a very very low price. So as far as I'm concerned, there are a few things as well that I want to let you know. There's a conference coming up, so the Female Wave of Change Global Conference. I'm an ambassador of the Female Wave of Change here in Australia, in this region, New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, and Asia Pacific. So we have our conference coming up on the 26th. So that's later this week. And please come. You're gonna be inspired. Don't miss this opportunity. So far, there's also this week as well, coming up in few days, the Global Supplier Diversity Conference. I'm also one of the ambassador, so make sure you take part as well. It's free, so you can register for free, and it's on the 24th of September, 10 a.m. EST. It's a conference that's normally take place in Dallas, and no, in Atlanta, but because of what's going on, we they decided to go virtual. So that's one of the thing, and there's also uh, coming up as well. The magazine, so that was the first issue in July, just for my birthday. So the second issue is coming up in October. So stay tuned, and so that you're gonna have again an amazing issue featuring a lot of my guests, actually the guest of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, writing about their expertise and their knowledge. So you know um, take note, it's coming soon. So that's all for today. And before we leave, Jeff, I want to ask you any last message that you want to leave me and the audience with, before we close today.
Yeah, I want to. This is going to be strange because you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to be. Well, I can back up, get you to see my face.
Okay.
But I wanted to stand up because
Mm-hmm.
I can do this now.
Mm-hmm.
This is an ability that I have, and the chances are half you out there, if not 3/4 or 5/8, have this ability. And if you don't
Mm-hmm.
have this ability, you have other abilities. Check it out. All right. People tell me all the time that I have disabilities because I walk a little funky. I talk a little funky. I'm unable to run right now. But
Mm-hmm.
I tell them no, I don't have disabilities. I have different abilities. Because while my abilities might not be the same as yours, they're different. And each and every one of us are different. So embrace those differences. Love yourself. And remember, I am Jeff Marconette Jr., the award winning international Make Every Second Count speaker, telling you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when your last second will be.
Mm-hmm. 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 Powerful, powerful. So embrace your ability, and love yourself, love your ability. You are unique, you are authentic, and really celebrate that, be grateful for that. And like Jeff said, make sure you make every single second count. You never know what can happen in 1 second. And he's here, he went through all of this, and that's the key lesson that it came back with. And I'm gonna add, just as usual, please don't stop here. Share this knowledge, share what Jeff said today. If you're watching the replay, share it in your environment, share it in your community, share the message everywhere you can, for you It's here to share those message, those powerful message, so that we can all step into our greatness and go to the next level and leave nothing, really nothing on the table of life. So thank you so much. And I see you later. I have another show later. So let's see you in a few in an hour so or so. And thank you so much, Jeff, for this inspiration and for your knowledge. It's been amazing to have you, and I really really enjoy having this conversation with you. So that's all for today. I'll see you later. Take care, and enjoy the rest of your day if you're not back
Thank you
later
again.
when I'm gonna have the second tour. Thank you again.